and welcome to another green marble crochet tutorial. For this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make this delightful little pentagram granny square that I came up with yesterday. Oh, that was the wrong side. This is the right side. So that's what this looks like. Yeah, I came up with this design yesterday. I'm very happy with it. Been wanting to do something like this for a long time, but for some reason was never able to till now. Yes, that's just the way some things happen, you know? They happen when they're meant to happen. So, that's what we're doing. I've made a few of them, actually. So I've made them in a bunch of different colours. Oh, that blue looks really nice on camera. Yeah. And then this one. Another one that's the same as the other one. And a green one. Yeah. So that's what we're doing, yes. And we're making, this is the one we're making in the tutorial. So that's what we're doing, yes. It's very, very quick to make, very simple. I'm going to be making a Halloween blanket. So this is the first of my October Halloween stuff that I'm making. I'm going to be making a fair bit this year. So yeah, I don't know if I want the blanket to be all in pentagrams or if I want to include the other Halloween-y granny square designs that I've got in mind. So I was thinking maybe also cobwebs and maybe a spider. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, comment below. What do you think? What should I do? Either way, I'm making a blanket. So we're doing that. There's really not much to say. We can probably just get straight into making it. If you haven't subscribed, but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. A big thank you to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. If you need to get in contact with me very quickly for anything crochet related, look for me on Instagram. I'm the_green_marble. You'll be able to find me there very quickly. It's usually where you can find me very quickly. Be able to help you with whatever you need help with. Yes, that's it. I have to say. So yes, let's just get straight into making this. Alright, now to begin, we're going to have a look at what we're working with. So, I'm going to be using a whole bunch of different colours of this particular yarn. So I bought just a bunch of different colours, but this is my new favourite yarn that I'm working with this year. I found it recently at the bazaar down the road and I just can't get enough of it. They're all gorgeous. So yes, I'm hoping to make a blanket using these ones. I'll probably have to get more, and either I'll be making the entire blanket from the square that we're making today, or I'm going to try and come up with some different ones. It's going to be like the Halloween 2021 blanket. So yeah, it's just something we're doing. So yes, I love this stuff. The last couple of designs that I did, the last two tutorials, I used this stuff. So yeah, just that. Also, I'm using a black for the actual sort of pentagram itself and the outside of the square. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So to begin, we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details on the label of the yarn that we're using. I thought we'd use this sort of rainbow color changing one for the tutorial. So we'll move the rest out of the way. Alright, so we'll put this aside for the moment. We're going to have a look at the tiny details on this label. So this is the black yarn that we're using. If you need more time to have a look at anything, just pause the video. So these are the tiny relevant details for this one. See if it wants to close up. So it's saying for this particular yarn that I should be using, it's not closing up. It's saying that I should use, I don't know whether you can see that, a 3 or a 3.5mm hook. But I'm not going to because, have a look at this label. Take this one off quickly. Alright, so this is the label for this colourful yarn. And it's a nice handmade one. Alright, so where are the tiny relevant details? There's some more details. But for the tiny relevant details for this one, it's saying I should use a 6 or a 7mm hook. So I'm using my 6mm hook for this particular design. Just going to make the square bigger. And yeah, just gonna work better. All right, so we're gonna start by taking our colorful yarn. I'm gonna put the black to the side for the moment. We're gonna find the end of our yarn. We're gonna begin by making a slip knot. So to make a slip knot, you take the end of your yarn with the thumb and the index finger of your right hand, like this. And then with the index finger and the middle finger of your left hand, you're going to wind the yarn around like this, grab hold with those two fingers of the working end, and pull through a loop. But I'm not making the tail of that very long. I mean, that's probably a bit too long. I usually make them a bit shorter, just because I crocheted in as I go along. So probably a bit more like that. It's a bit shorter. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our hook, we're going to take that loop off our finger, we're going to adjust that loop to the hook, adjusting the slip knot to the hook, and pull the working end tight, like that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make a chain of 4. So a chain is yarn over and pull through the loop, so that's 1 chain, yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 2, yarn over, pull through the loop, that's 3, and then yarn over, pull through the loop, and that's 4. I just want to mention quickly as well, if you feel like I'm going too fast for you, there's a feature on YouTube where you can slow down the speed of the video. It's on the side panel somewhere. I think it's like 3 dots, and it gives you a drop down menu or something, and you can just slow down the speed or speed it up, either way, whatever works best for you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way back to the beginning of that chain, and we're going to slip stitch into that first chain at the beginning there. So to slip stitch is you insert your hook into that top part of that chain, like that, yarn over, pull through a loop, and then pull that loop through the loop on your hook. And now you've made a little chain circle. There we go. If you pull that apart, you'll be able to see the center just there. So there's the center, sort of right there. Now what we're going to do at this point is we're going to chain up 2, so 1 and 2. And we're going to be working this square in double crochets until we get to the outer, well, we're starting by making it a circle, and then at the end we turn it into a square. And for the end we sort of use a combination of single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochets. But for the circle, we're going to be using double crochets. So to do that, what we do is we yarn over, and then finding that center of the chain circle just here. Where is that? That's just there beneath that chain of 2. Hang on. Pulling it apart. There it is. So you're going to go into the center of the chain circle, like that. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that's a double crochet, so that's 1. Now we're going to be putting 10 of those into the center of the chain circle, so there's number 2, then we'll do another one, so that will be number 3. And as you can see, I'm working that loose end in as I go along, so I've got the next one along. It's going to be 4. So I'll meet back up with you once we've done 10, and we'll talk about the next step. Alright, now here I am at the end of round 1 with all my 10 double crochets into the center of that chain circle. So that's what that looks like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find that chain of 2 from the beginning. So right there, there's 1, 2, and the stitch at the top of that, we're going to slip stitch into. So where are we? Here we are. So there's the chain of 2, there's the stitch at the top. You're going to put your hook beneath both parts of the V on that stitch. You're going to yarn over, slip stitch, just like that. So there's round 1. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to put this down. Okay, I'm going to tilt the camera down so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to put this facing down like this. We're going to grab the black yarn, grab the end of that. And what we're going to do is, we're going to tie this to the back of this yarn. So the back of the working end of the yarn you're already working with, you're just tying it like so. I hope you can see this. tie it as close to the stitch as you possibly can, as close to the beginning of that yarn, just there, the beginning of the round. So just there like that. So that's what that's going to look like. You just tied it to that piece of yarn. And now what we're going to be doing is we're going to chain up 2. So we're going to chain up 2, 1. Actually, before you do that, go back to the stitch that you were on to begin with. I'm going to tilt the camera back up. Alright, so where am I? Trying not to get messy. You want to make sure, actually, that's slip stitch at the end, so I'm going to do that again because it came a bit loose. So I'm slip stitching that stitch at the top of that chain of 2, but I'm pulling that stitch tight just there because we're not going to be using that stitch that we've slip stitched with. So what you're doing now is, with the same yarn you've been working with, just pulling the black to the side like this, because you're going to be working that in, no you're not, yes you are, you're going to be working that in as you go along to begin with. So you're going to chain up 2, 1, 2, and into that stitch right beneath that chain of 2, so that one just there, let's push that aside, that one just there, you're going to be putting 2 stitches, so, oh no wait, double crochets, yarn over, so 1 into the same stitch as 2. So you've got 2 double crochets into that first stitch, and there's going to be 2 stitches into every stitch around, so that when you get to the end, there will be 20 stitches. However, we are working in the black at this point to form the beginning of the pentagram. So I'm also working this end in as I go along, this loose end. So into the next stitch, and it's going to be every 4th, you're going to be working in the beginning of the pentagram. So into the next stitch, you've got your 3rd stitch, so we'll do it in repetitions of 4, and that's how I've been doing it. So in the next stitch, you've got 3, then there'll be another stitch into that stitch, but what we're doing is, for the 4th, we're dropping the coloured one behind and picking up the black. Then you're going to yarn over with the black, then you're going to move to the stitch at the end of the round, so this one just here, and that's going to be the last stitch of the last repetition. I hope that makes sense. That's how you're going to be doing it. So working into, you're going to yarn over with the black just there, then you're going to move to that last stitch at the end, so you might have to rotate a little bit to do that. You're going to insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over with the black, pull up a loop, and you're stretching that loop up to where you are. So where are we? You're stretching that loop up to where your stitch currently is, like that. Then you're going to drop the black where it is. You're going to yarn over with the coloured, so you're picking that back up from behind, yarn over, pull through those 2 black loops, then yarn over and pull through the 2 final loops. So you've sort of done a double crochet with a very long connector to that last stitch just there at the end of the round. So now you're moving on to the next stitch along, because that 4th one represents the 2nd one you would have done into the stitch next to number 3. So let's move on to the next repetition of 4. So into the next stitch you've got 1 and 2 stitches into the same stitch. As you can see, I haven't picked this up and I'm not working that in as I go along anymore, because what I'm going to do into the next stitch along, we're going to put down our 3rd stitch of this next repetition, so 3, then we're going to drop that and you're going to go back and pick up that black yarn, you're going to bring it up behind like this, yarn over, and you're going to work this particular stitch into the last of the previous repetition of 4. So that one where you've only got stitch number 3 and then you've got your 4th one which doesn't actually go into that stitch. So that's just there. So you've yarned over with the black, you're kind of having to rotate a little bit, you're sticking it into that stitch that had this 3rd stitch of the previous repetition, yarn over with the black, pull through that loop and stretch it up to meet where you are. Now you're going to drop that black thread, you're going to yarn over with the coloured one, pull through those 2 black loops, yarn over, pull through the 2 coloured loops. So there's your next part of the pentagram. So now what you do is you're moving on to your next repetition of 4. So we'll do it together. You're moving on to the next stitch along, because if you move that black spoke, you can see there's that 3rd stitch into that stitch right there. So you're moving on to the next one along with stitch number 1, and then right next to that you're going to put number 2 of this repetition of 4. Then into the next stitch will be stitch number 3, then dropping that coloured yarn, bringing up the black one, yarn over with that black thread, then going back into the last stitch of the previous repetition. So this one just here. Basically you're just counting back 1, 2, and into the 3rd previous one. Well, you'll be able to see where you've got that 3rd stitch of the previous repetition and the 4th one doesn't go into it. So you've got to rotate a little bit and you go into that stitch just there, yarn over, pull through that black thread, pull it up to meet where you are. Yeah, just like that. Try not to be messy. And then dropping that black thread, you yarn over with the coloured, pull through those 2 black loops, yarn over, pull through the coloured ones. So just like that. Then we're going to do the same again. So here's the next stitch along. We're going to do 1 and 2. Then moving on to the next stitch will be 3, then dropping that coloured thread, you're picking up the black, yarn over, move to that last stitch of the previous repetition, making sure you're not catching up that coloured thread, yarn over, pull up the black, pull it tight, loose, pull it loose to meet where you are, yarn over with the coloured, pull through those 2 black loops, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we've got one more to do. We'll do that together. So moving on to the next stitch is 1 and 2. Then you've got the next stitch along, which is the final stitch of the round, and you'll see that that brings you back to the beginning. So there's the stitch that you put the first stretchy black spoke into. So then you're going to put stitch number 3 of this repetition, drop that coloured thread, yarn over with the black, go back into the last stitch of the previous repetition, not mixing up that coloured thread, yarn over, stretch up that black thread to meet you, drop the black, pick up the coloured, yarn over, pull through those 2 black loops, yarn over, pull through the 2 coloured loops. So there you go. And now all you're going to do is you're going to look for the stitch at the top of that chain of 2 from the beginning. So there's that chain of 2. There's the stitch. You're going to insert your hook, yarn over, slip stitch. So there is round number 2. So now what we're going to do for round number 3, what you want to do here is you want to make sure you're twisting up the black. Here, look, I'm going to turn it over. So see, you've got the black is all the way down here because of these repetitions. So what you want to do is you want to twist this up, make sure you're catching it up, because now you're going to chain up 2. And you just making sure, you're not going to be working it in as you go along, but you're making sure you've got it there so that it's just, you're not stretching it all the way from down there when you move on to round number 4. So we're just catching it up into that chain of 2 at the beginning of that chain of 2 for now. Push it to the side like this, and now what you're going to be doing is you're going to be working into that first stitch just there with 2 double crochets into that stitch right beneath the chain of 2. So 1, 2, and the next stitch along you're just going to put 1 double crochet. So for this, we're not working any black yarn into it. We're just doing a straight round of the coloured stitch, the coloured thread, coloured yarn. And these are repetitions of 3. So into the next stitch, you've got 2 stitches into the same stitch. 1, 2, and then into the next stitch along, it's just going to be 1 stitch and 3. So that's repetitions of 3, and by the end of this round, that's going to bring you to a stitch count of 30 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, and then moving to the next stitch along, it's 1 single one, 3. So you can just count that as you go along. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'll meet you at the end of the round, and we'll move on to round 4. Alright, now here I am at the end of round 3. I've got all my 30 stitches in all the way around. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to slip stitch into that stitch at the top of the chain 2 from the beginning. So just there into that stitch, right there, slip stitch, and pull that kind of tight. Now, making sure you're sort of twisting up that black yarn from the previous round, so you're going to twist it so that it comes up to meet where you are. You're going to chain up 2 with the coloured yarn. Now, it's kind of every 4th out of 8. So what I mean by this is for this repetition, because you're going to, when you get to the end of the round, you're going to have 40 stitches. So the points of this star are going to be worked into every 4th stitch out of 8. So I'll show you, we're also increasing. So to increase for this round, the repetitions go 1, 2, then 1 into the next stitch, and 1 into the stitch after that. So let's do that together. I'm going to do this first one with you, and we're not going to do the point, but I'll just show you what you're working with. Say if you weren't doing a pentagram, the 4th round would be, you're working 2 into that first stitch at the beginning, right beneath that chain of 2. So 1, actually I'm going to work that thread in as I go. So 1, 2 double crochets into that first stitch, then you would be putting 1 into the next stitch along, and then 1 into the stitch after that. And that would be your repetition to the end of the round. You would go 2 into the next stitch, 1 into the stitch after that, and 1 into the stitch after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you would do it. However, I'm going to take out this 4th stitch, because for the 4th stitch just here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that coloured one behind. I'm going to pick up the black one, yarn over, and I'm rotating, and what I'm doing is I'm reaching down with my hook. I'm going in behind the spoke on this side. I'm going to push under that, and I'm poking my hook through the stitch that is on the other, well, at the big, where we've put this spoke. So you're going into the stitch that this spoke went into, you're pushing your hook into that. I don't know whether you can see that. So you're going under that one, you're going to push into this here, where the spoke is, yarn over at the back, pull a loop up around that spoke just there, and you're stretching this up to meet where you are, like that. But now what you're doing is, with that black yarn, you're yarning over again, and you're going to insert your hook into the stitch where the next spoke is. So this stitch just here, I'm going to go into that, yarn over at the back with the black, yarn over, pull a loop up to meet where you are. I hope that makes sense. So there you go, there's your point. Now what you're doing is you're going to yarn over with the black, and you've got 4 black loops on your hook just there, as you can see. So what you're going to do is you're yarning over with that black, you're pulling through all 4 of those loops just there like that. Then you're going to drop the black thread and pick up the coloured one and yarn over and pull through those 2 final loops like that. And there's your first peak. So that's 1, 2, 3, and this stitch represents what would have gone into the next stitch along. So that one just there. So that's covering that stitch. You're not going to worry about that, because what you're going to do is making sure you're weaving this with you as you go along, so it's there when you need it. You're going to, so where are we? We're not going to that one. Next one along is going to be 5 and 6, but it's still a repetition of 4. Actually, we can just probably, so every second repetition of 4. So let's just say this is 1, 2. So 1, 2, and then next stitch is 1, so that's 3. Next stitch 1, and that's 4. So we'll just count in repetitions of 4, it just makes it easier. So every first repetition of 4 is where you form the peak on the 4th. So what we're doing for the next repetition is we're forming a peak again on the 4th. So we're going to go into the next stitch with the first 2 stitches. So 1 and 2 into the same stitch. Then moving on to the next stitch will be 3. And the next stitch is going to be where you form your next peak. So you're going to drop that coloured yarn, yarn over with the black. Now what you're going to do is you are going beneath this long strand, or this long stitch that you stretched. you're going beneath this one as well, and then you're poking into the stitch where this one has gone. So just poking in beside that long spoke just there. I don't know whether you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. So you've gone beneath these ones, you're poking into there, yarn over with the black, pull a loop around those, stretch up to meet where you are. Then you're going to yarn over and just move to the next stitch along for the previous one. So that just there, you're going to poke your hook through there, yarn over, pull a loop up to meet where you are, just like this. You then yarn over and sort of hold on to those just there with your hand so that you can see what you're doing. Yarn over, pull through all 4 of those black ones, then dropping the black, pick up the coloured one, yarn over, pull through those 2 loops, just there. And there's your second peak. So that's what you're doing. It's every first repetition of 4. So now you're going to do just a straight repetition of 4 with nothing, making sure you're not going into that stitch where that pentagram has formed the 4th stitch. So there's that stitch beneath it just there. Just ignore that one. Moving on to the next one. So that will be, the next one will be 1 and 2 into the same stitch. And moving on to the next stitch will be 3. And the next stitch, just a single one again, will be 4. Oh, okay, now making sure we're grabbing some more yarn. We're going to do the next, we'll do the next one together, and then I'm going to leave you to complete the remaining 2 on your own. So we're just going to do 3 together. So we're doing the next repetition, so 2 into the same stitch, so 1 and 2. Then 1 single one into the next stitch, so that will be stitch number 3 of this repetition. Then we're on to the 4th, which is the beginning of this point. So you're yarning over with the black, going in, sort of pushing beneath this spoke, and then pushing beneath this spoke, and then going into the stitch where you put this spoke. So just like that, yarn over, pulling a loop up, and then pulling it around those 2 spokes there. Pull it up to meet where you are, yarn over again with the black, and going into this stitch, yarn over, pulling a loop up to meet where you are. Then yarning over with the black again, holding on to those loops that you've got just there, yarn over, pull through all 4 of those loops, drop the black, yarn over with the coloured one, and pull it through those 2 remaining loops. So there you go, and then you're going to, ignoring the stitch that would have gone into, so you can sort of pull that apart just there and see where it is, sort of just beneath that spoke of the peak of this the peak, the 3rd peak. Alright, so I'm just going to leave you to do the rest. Your next repetition of 4 is just going to be a straight repetition of 4, then you're going to form the peak on the 4th stitch of the next repetition of 4, and so on till you get to the end of the round. I will meet back up with you once we've done the next 2, and we'll move on to making the square. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now here I am at the end of the round. So at this point I've got 40 stitches, and as you can see, your last repetition was just a straight repetition with no embellishments. So now what we're going to do is, after that last stitch that you've put in of the round, you're going to drop that to the side, you're going to pick up the black one, you're going to insert your hook into that chain, the stitch at the top of the chain 2 from the beginning, yarn over with the black and pull through, and you're slip stitching with the black one because at this stage you're going to do the edging with the black yarn. So there we go, and we've just dropped this. So now what you can do is, just putting that down, you can find your scissors wherever I put them, there they are, and you can just cut this, cut the colourful yarn that you've used, and push that to the side because we're not going to be using that anymore. For this square, it's over, and you can just, I'll go through with you at the end how you're going to just tie that off, but for now you can just put it to the side. So what we're doing now is, now we're going to chain up 1 with that black yarn that we've got, chaining up 1, and into that first stitch right at the bottom, well, right beneath that chain of 1, you're going to put your first stitch, which is a single crochet. Now, each side of the square is going to have 10 stitches, but each, well, 2 of the corner stitches have 3 stitches in each, and we'll go through that together. So I'll show you how I do the repetitions of this. So the first stitch just there is a single crochet, so 1 single crochet, and next stitch is a single crochet. So single crochet, I don't know, you probably saw that, what I just did. You insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's just a single crochet, and we've done 2 there to begin with. Now into the next stitch, we're going to yarn over and we're going to put a half double crochet. So that's going to be stitch number 3 is a half double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, then pull through all 3 of those loops for a half double crochet. Then into the next stitch, stitch number 4, you're going to put a double crochet. So into that one just there, 1 double crochet. Now into the 5th stitch along, you're going to be putting 3 double crochets. And this is forming the first part of this corner. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee. There we go. All right. So next stitch along, so the 5th one, we're going to put 3 double crochets into the same stitch. So 1, and 2, and 3. And there we go. So that's the first part of this corner. So now what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, bit of fluff, chain 1, and into the next stitch you're going to put 3 double crochets again into the same stitch. So 1, 2, 3. So this one, I'm counting this as 1, and into the next stitch along, which will be 2, I'm just going to put a double crochet, so 1 double crochet. Then into the next stitch along, which will be 3, is a half double crochet, so 1 half double crochet. Then into the next 2 stitches, it's going to be a single crochet in each stitch, so 1 single crochet next stitch, and then next stitch another single crochet. There we go. So there's one corner complete. So now to do the next corner, it's again single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the stitch after that, just the same as we did at the beginning. Half double crochet into the next stitch along, so 1 half double crochet, double crochet into the next stitch along, 1 double crochet, so that's stitch number 4. Then into the next stitch, which is stitch number 5, 3 double crochets into the same stitch, so 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to chain 2. It's not focusing. Chain 1. Then 3 double crochets into the next stitch along, so 1, 2, and 3. Then into the next stitch, double crochet. Then into the next stitch, half double crochet. Then a single crochet after that into the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. That's a little bit tight, but it's okay. Single crochet. So that's the pattern. What you've got to, well, that's the pattern that you've got to form a corner. You do single crochet, single crochet. Where are we? Single crochet, single crochet. No, wait. Here it is. No, hang on a second. All right, I was losing myself. So single crochet, half double crochet, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, double crochet, half double crochets, half double crochet, single crochet, single crochet. So that's the pattern. And that's how it goes. We'll do the next corner together, then you can finish up your last corner on your own, and I'll meet back up with you at the end. But anyway, so moving on to the next stitch, it is just, we'll do it together, single crochet, then next one, single crochet, next stitch, half double crochet. So I sort of count in 5. So this is 3 is a half double crochet, 4 is a double crochet, 5 is 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, then chain 1. And then you've got your next lot of 5. So you can see it that way. You're counting sort of 2 lots of 5. So the next lot of 5, number 1 is the 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Then stitch number 2 is the double crochet. Stitch number 2. And stitch number 3 is always going to be the half double crochet. So half double crochet. Then stitch number 4 is a single crochet, and stitch number 5 is a single crochet. Sort of mirror image of each other. You want to look at it that way, you can look at it that way too. So then you're just doing the mirror image of that, which is, I'm not going to go through it again. I've gone through it so many times and you're probably just getting sick of hearing me say it. So I'm going to leave you to finish up the last corner. We'll meet back up at the end and we'll finish up together. Alright, see you soon. Alright, here I am putting in my final single crochet of the square. So that one just there. You might think you've got a stitch just there, but you haven't. It's just the one, it's the stitch that you cut of the colourful yarn. You're just going to pull that tight. So now all you're going to do is you're going to find the stitch at the top of that chain of 1 from the beginning. You're going to go into that. You're going to slip stitch to close the square. Now what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, find your scissors, where did I put them? There they are. Find your scissors, cut that yarn, and let's pull back up again. Cutting the yarn, you're going to pull that chain of 1 through. So where are we? Let's focus better. Gosh, that's really bright. Alright, so all you're going to do is just pull that chain of 1 through, pull tight. Now what I do is I turn over, and you can see where this is still loose. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that little stitch just there at the back. I'm going to go into that. Hang on, I'm going to go in with a smaller hook actually, because I don't want to get that messed up. So you're just going to go into that, you're going to pull through, grab this colourful yarn, pull it through that stitch just there, and then chain 1. And when you chain the 1, you can pull that chain through, and that just secures it like that. So there you go. There we go. There's our pentagram square. Halloween 2021 pentagram square. I love it. I really love it. And I love the way the colours show through like that. I think that looks really cool. Nice effect, you know? Looks good. Alright, so that's our square. That's our square for this Sunday. I'm hoping to sort of try and make a spider design and a cobweb design as well. So I'm going to be working on that. But I have something else really, really exciting coming up for Halloween this year. So I'm going to actually be working really hard on that within the next week or so, because I want to get it out maybe a week, maybe even 2 weeks before Halloween. So everybody, maybe everybody has a chance to make it, whatever it is. So yeah, that's what we're doing. I hope you like this square. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Like I said, I'm going to be making a blanket out of these. I'm not sure if it's going to be all, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be all pentagrams or if I'm going to be able to make the spider and the cobweb to sort of go with this as well. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I look forward to seeing you again soon. I don't know, there's not much more to say. Thanks for watching. See you next time.